Hi, my name's Jillian. I'm from Queensland, Australia. I'm in my 40s. I was diagnosed on Christmas Eve 2009 and I had DCIS and invasive cancer. Today I'd like to share with you my experience with thermography. You've probably heard a little bit about thermography around the traps. It's a diagnostic procedure that takes thermal images of the breast. It's just like having your picture taken, and those pictures are sent to a laboratory and a report is produced. And here's an example of a report. And in that report, it will show you the thermographic pictures of your breast and the variations of temperatures. It will also give an interpretation of those pictures, which is done by the laboratory. Thermography is able to detect a precancerous state of tissue or signs of cancer at an extremely early stage. It does this by monitoring the temperature variations and the blood vessel alterations that are produced by the early stages in breast cancer. However, thermography can't specifically pinpoint the location of a tumour, so it is not meant to replace any of the other diagnostic tools such as physical examination, ultrasounds, breast MRIs, or even mammograms. It's really a tool to complement your process of monitoring and early diagnosis. So does it work? Well, there's a fair amount of skepticism out there in the medical profession, and my experience says that it does. And I'd just like to share a report with you. I started thermography 12 months before my breast cancer diagnosis. And to do thermography, they do one set of report, and then 3 months later they do a second set to establish a benchmark. And then they continue with either 6-monthly or 12-monthly reviews. And each review, they compare that back to the previous report to identify any variations. So I started with my benchmark in December 2008. And this is my report. Remember, this is exactly 12 months prior to my diagnosis. The thermographic interpretation says, there are significant thermal asymmetries seen in the breasts. There is hypothermia and reticulate patterns seen in the upper inner quadrant of the left breast and around the left nipple. That appears suspicious for a developing pathology. Neovascularity cannot be excluded. The slight areas of hypothermia in the upper quadrants of the right breast do not appear suspicious, but should be monitored for change. The discussion summary says, the thermal findings in the right breast are considered within normal limits. The thermal findings in the left breast should be considered high risk for a developing pathology, justifying further clinical correlation and evaluation. And here's the area on my thermography report. You can see the temperature variation very clearly on my left breast. So technically, I should have picked up my breast cancer 12 months earlier. But why, you ask? It's a damn good question. Well, although my practitioner highlighted the report and the areas of concern, I had previously had some surgery on my left breast at my nipple at the same spot where the area of concern had been highlighted. I had had a ductectomy, which is a removal of a duct. So I automatically assumed that the area of concern was linked directly back to my previous surgery and didn't think anything more of it. In hindsight, it should have been a screaming red flag, and I should have fast-tracked an appointment with my surgeon at that point, but I didn't. So very interesting to go back in hindsight and read that report, and it's given me a bit of faith moving forward that thermography will pick up areas of concern for you to action. So how am I using this moving forward? Well, I'm now the 18-month mark, and I've had a couple of reviews with my surgeon, and I have chosen not to have mammograms, and I've done that for a couple of reasons. One is there is a school of thought out there that mammograms can contribute to breast cancer due to the trauma of the activity, and it can potentially also spread cancer cells that are already existing within the breast. The other reason is that I can't even imagine putting my breast in a mammogram and just it would just be torture. So I can't even face that one. So we have agreed on an alternative strategy. One is that I will have yearly ultrasounds, and every 2 years I'll have a breast MRI, which is less invasive, a bit more expensive, but gives you good reports. And I will also be monitoring through thermography, so I will have those quite regularly. And certainly if there's anything that appears on my thermography reports that is suspicious, then I would certainly, again, talk to my surgeon pretty promptly and organise an MRI or some other diagnostic tool. So there's a bit of a rundown on thermography and my experience. I hope that has helped you, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.